Hey guys, and welcome to another brand new video. In this video, we actually have some pretty interesting stuff to go and talk about, where there actually has now been even more kind of big price manipulation going on when it comes to the consoles, when it comes to the PlayStations, when it comes to everything else. And it does actually kind of seem like, as of now, we've been hearing loads of rumors, and a lot of people bring this on up, that some of the third-party sellers and botters actually might be buying out the actual individual stock to go and basically mass buy out as much stock as possible to keep on raising up the prices to now go and then resell them as well. It's probably a little bit of a mouthful. I'm going to explain what's kind of going on over here because we've actually been hearing this more and more and more. And as well, kind of makes a little bit of sense too, and like they just want to keep the restock grind as long as they possibly can. Same with the botting grind too as well, so we have a lot of stuff to go talk about, a lot of things to go bring on up. And as well, if any of you guys are brand new, feel free to leave your thoughts and comments down below. And as well, make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on as well for the brand new PlayStation 5 giveaway. Amazon links down below for the PS5 Digital Console Controller. Twitter and Twitch room down below. Weeble and comments down below. And probably a lot of sad and depression throughout the rest of this video because what on earth is going on? So, well, if you guys don't know, obviously, I'm sure you guys do if you guys are watching this channel or like looking for PlayStations or even if it shows up in your recommended. But basically, the PlayStation 5 and Xbox have been very heavily scalped, very heavily botted. And obviously, when it comes to price points and everything, it's, well, kind of fluctuating a decent amount. But at this point, we're also around like 18, getting close to 19 months into this restock grind. Ever since the console came out, people have had a chance to buy them from Walmart, Target, Best Buy, Walk-ins, etc. But the one big thing is it still has not been readily available. I'm sure a lot of you guys know, a lot of you guys are subscribed for restocking news on the channel itself, or just general gaming news and all that. But the one big struggle is over here is this past week, we've actually had a huge, and I mean like a genuinely proper huge, uptick in prices when it comes to the consoles. Now, there's been two kind of big reasons for that. Number one is obviously when it comes to the price point. So it was a little bit cheap. It definitely had a pretty big bounce down, but usually, as you guys know from stock markets or whatever, usually anything that goes down a lot usually does have a little bit of a bounce back either way. That's just like normal stock. You have something that goes up 80%. Next day, you can probably assume it's going to go down a little bit too as well. If it goes down 80%, it's going to have a little bit of like a bounce back either or. And we were kind of thinking that was going to happen when it comes to the consoles, but this one's actually seems to be a little bit more on the artificial side. So, as I've mentioned, we haven't really had that many big restocks this week. This week was a very quiet week, which is kind of rightfully kind of sad. We want to have more, maybe like a Walmart drop, ideally soon. We want to have an Amazon drop, ideally soon. We want to have like more Best Buy proper online drop. Stock is locked and loaded and people are waiting for it, hoping for soon. Target, etc. Saw a little big warehouse stuff. Like there's a lot of stuff in the works, like a lot of warehouse stuff, a lot of movement stuff. Like we're seeing it, like we know it's there. But the one big struggle is it didn't do a proper drop. Like this entire past week was pretty much only just like these weird mid-tier retailers or like those weird mid-tier grocery stores. Like we saw like, say Costco, that they did like an $800 bundle. So that was first and foremost definitely would bring up the price when it comes to third-party sellers and market prices. But the bigger thing that we're kind of going to talk about throughout this video, it seems like big botting groups are now actually setting buy orders for anything under a certain set amount of price to basically go and automatically either order them and basically make sure the market is perpetually always under a certain price point. And like, I'm sure you guys have heard me talk and complain about pretty much everything out here. What on earth is going on? How is this still a thing? So a good example is you guys want to look and say like the stock prices over here. We had some pretty big drop downs. We went from like a nice 700 to like a 620. Like that's a pretty big jump. You can even look at the actual graph itself. That's a pretty big downwards trend for like a whole month, like about a month and a half or so. And then we actually saw prices. If you got like we literally showed it on video. Like as we're talking about it. We literally saw prices as low as even $602. Probably one of the lowest and cheapest price ones we had a chance to go and see in quite some time. Even on Facebook, even on eBay, even on all the other various like third-party resellers, prices were very low. And this is only like 5 or 6 days ago at this point. It's not really that long ago. But as you guys can even see on the chart itself, it had a little bit of a bounce back. Now, that's not the worst. It happens. Like we see a lot of bounce backs and up and downs, throughout the charts or whatever. But this one seems a little bit more on the intriguing side. So as you guys can see, even the most recent last sales at $670, which once again, it's almost never worth buying from these. I mean, unless you get it like literally like $580, you pay like $20, sure, whatever, fine. But like at a $670 price point, when the price point was literally like $600, why would you want to pay an extra $70+ for something that you literally could wait an extra week or so? The price will go down. Or as well, after the next Walmart drop, price will go down. Or the next big Best Buy drop, price will go down. Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So first and foremost, that's annoying just from the general news and general price points. Like we were so close right here. You guys see this January 1st, $628. Like that was such a huge downwards trend. And we were there. Like we were literally at the lowest point ever. Like this was unironically the lowest point, like by $8. That's more on the base than the averages too. And now you can see it's going back up. So kind of the main topic of this video, though, is we've actually now been seeing multiple different reports that third-party and big botting groups, like scalping groups, are actually now trying their best to go buy as much stock as they can for two big reasons. Number one, they don't want the certain price point to go down under a certain limit. So at this point, apparently the big number we were seeing before from like some basically people that were kind of infiltrating into these groups themselves, whether they were scalpers or not, we just found out the information. And basically, whenever a console was going underneath $600, people were instantly buying it, like no matter what. They're like, no matter what, this price point is not breaking $600. And then they also kind of as that kind of like price point kind of didn't really break, like we didn't see someone selling 40 consoles for $598. Basically, that $600 price point held. And then after that $600 price point, they're like, okay, like we're not seeing any restocks, let's bump it up. So that we also had even more PS5 restocking, like big scalping and botting groups, push the price to $625. And after $625, they're like, well, if the price points are even going up even higher, we can kind of somewhat artificially control this market. Now, obviously, it's not controlling literally every single person. Like, you have some individual botters, you have just people checking Best Buy stores every day for stock. Like, we see that stuff all the time. Like, it's not the biggest deal. But the fact if you could have like a bunch of people with the capital too, like whether it's for a proper legitimate sale or not, we've actually been kind of seeing some stuff when it comes to stock and stuff in general. So it's kind of seeming because like it's like this, I don't know how to word this well. It just kind of seems like they're trying to go and elongate this as long as they possibly can. Now, if we didn't have too many botters and didn't have too many scalpers, we probably would be kind of clear out at this point for like the restocks. Like it'd probably be at the point where it's at the Xbox where you can most of the time find it. There may be in stock, for a few hours as is. And that's where you want to be. And I keep on thinking we're so close. Like we're so close. But sadly, we're not. We still have never really been that close. Like we're like right here, if this would have broke that $600 price point, I think things would have been great. Like it would have kept on going down and down and down, a lot more panic sellers, etc. But that's the big point of why these like kind of third-party botting groups are down to buy. And apparently there's been actually a few of them put together where they're trying their best to go buy out as much stock as they can. Like they just basically do not want to, like they have like basically want to set a floor. That no matter what, they want to have the prices at a certain point, like over, say, like $600. But that, I mean, in theory, it does make sense. Like, I don't want to give credit to their ingenuity, but it's kind of like, hey, I can sell 1,000 consoles for $650 versus let me go buy 50 consoles at $600 to make sure the price point's good. So at the end of the day, they're making more money off those 1,000 sale consoles, so it's an extra 50 grand, and they spent maybe 2 grand, plus then also can once again resell those consoles too once they go get them. So it's kind of like almost like the stock market where they're trying to set a floor and they hope other people keep on buying and raising up the prices, like especially during big, dry drop periods like right this second. And then they're trying their best to keep it going as long as they can. As I've mentioned, this is so annoying because at this point, the Xbox Series X is pretty much chilling. Like the Xbox Series X is like mostly good. Like they are still getting stock. Like they're getting some pretty big, like consistent restocks. So the fact that like at this point, the PlayStation 5 is still kind of lingering a little bit does make me a little bit on the sadder side because I wish it would just have a chance to get the proper consoles out there in general. So as I mentioned, I've been hearing this from multiple different sources as of now that they are just trying their best to elongate this as long as they possibly can. And it kind of makes sense, though, like I said, because if you can go and make money and you can kind of control the market and you just don't want it to end, that just kind of means you can keep on rescalping and rebotting and re-getting all the stock and keep on reselling them. So a good example, once again, is on the Amazon side. So when it comes to Amazon, those are usually almost instantaneously bought. A few normal people get stock too, but so basically at that point, they can kind of somewhat control the market because if they buy 45 of the 50,000 consoles, that means that they kind of set the price, they can kind of slowly whittle stock out and kind of go from there. So kind of a sad, kind of annoying thing to see because in theory, if we didn't have to do with all these botters and all these scalpers, we'd probably be all fine. Like anyone who's still winning for their console would probably still get it. But at the end of the day, they are trying their best to hold on to it as long as they can, and that's why it's sad just to go and see. So, I don't know, give me your thoughts and comments down below, and as well, I guess make sure you You guys are subscribed with the notifications on as well for the brand new PlayStation 5 giveaway. Amazon links down below for the PS5 Digital Console Controller, Twitter and Twitch stream down below, Weeble and Coinbase down below, and all the other good stuff as well down below. And I appreciate you guys all so much for watching in the first place, and hopefully in the near future we can stop talking about this stuff so we can finally move on with our lives and go from there. So I appreciate you guys all so much for being here and watching. Y'all beautiful.